This is the stimulus update and the daily news report. I got some big updates to share with you. Another $2,000 stimulus check push coming from the state and $500 a month for 2-year applications are now open in one county, and another county has $500 a month for 1 year. Applications are opening up there, as well as when it comes to inflation and what's going on with that. President Biden's advisor is grilled on Fox News. So when it comes to this $2,000 stimulus check, Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf is making another push to get relief checks to Pennsylvanians to deal with the rising cost of inflation. The governor wants to use the state's COVID relief money to send $2,000 in direct payments to households earning $80,000 or less, arguing that it's the best way to have residents cope with high prices. Republicans, though, want to curb spending and save money to offset any future deficits. He said any household with $80,000 or less of income to get a $2,000 check to pay for whatever they wanted: food, clothing, gas, rent, mortgage, insurance, whatever. And I think that's the kind of thing that we ought to be doing to have people grapple with inflation. Senator Markey opposes mentioned push to include a permitting reform and stopgap funding bill. So this is that bill that Joe mentioned once because he scratched Chuck Schumer's back. Figuratively speaking, of course, but Joe mentioned one his old deal looks like that is having some hole back there. When it comes to money going out, Chicagoland can apply for $500 a month for 2 years under Cook County Guaranteed Income Program. So it looks like applications are open now. You could get $500 per month for 2 years. And this could be from October the 6th to 21st. And applications can be signed up online. It's going out to 3,250 residents for 2 years. The payments could begin in December. The Mountain View gave families a free $500 a month in the latest guaranteed income experiment. California also gives out $500 a month. Applicants started September 16th until September 25th for $500 a month for 2 full years. So what type of relief are we getting on a federal level? A lot of people feel that the Inflation Reduction Act celebration and also the talk from the White House about how green vehicles, electric vehicles are going to turn this thing around, it reflects a tenure at the White House about what's really going on, doesn't it? Here is President Biden's advisor talking about when things are going to finally get better in our country. No, this has been a tough few years for the US and the global economy. We've been through COVID, we've been through the variants, we've been through global inflation, we've been through the energy impact of this war in Ukraine, so there has been uncertainty. There have been both strong elements like job growth and lower unemployment, and there have been tough things like the higher food prices that families still face and the celebration at the White House. Was it not about that we had solved inflation? Of course not. The PPI, the Producer Price Index, came down again, but it is still way too high. That said, it does not mean that we don't also recognize historic positives that are happening legislatively for this country that is going to affect our ability to have strong jobs made in America, have a strong supply chain, and lower prices going forward. And the Inflation Reduction Act was celebrated for the first time controlling prescription drug prices, bringing down insulin prices, lowering the cost of energy for families, having 13-14 million being able to get understand healthcare premiums at $800 cheaper. Here's the part that was on those legislative items including the president, ever claimed that this was a celebration of the mission accomplished on inflation. He added, "Well, the Inflation Reduction Act was a series of policies which I've discussed, and some of them will hit in the next few months, like capping the cost of insulin at $35, like not allowing prescription drugs to be reimbursed for Medicare, edible inflation. All of those things will happen shortly. But the overall issue on inflation has to do with much larger forces. Now, inflation has come down, but that's not good enough for anybody. It is still too high, and I think the markets were disappointed, and we were disappointed in some of the core inflation numbers. But I feel more optimistic that there are some positive signs of inventories, tend to be higher now. This is going to, we believe, will lead to more discounting, lower prices. We had a huge influx of people into the labor market. One of the challenges is that we are seeing a cooling in housing prices in the housing market. But it does happen to be a little bit of time to show up, and that can take a little longer to show up officially in the inflation numbers. People have felt relief at the gas pump already. It's down over $1.30 a gallon. You are under $3.70. On average, the typical gas station is now touching about $3.39. So I think people are seeing some relief there, and we think we are moving in the right direction. But we understand everyone wants to move quickly. Everyone wants to bring prices down. And our goal is to do that in a way that doesn't give up these historic jobs, gain the greatest job growth in our history with 3.7% unemployment. So what are your thoughts in terms of the inflation being reduced? Isn't it going to happen? It seems like it's just taking forever. Prices are too high and not enough for the American people. Let me know if you agree with that. So that's all I'd like to tell you about today. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all your support. Hopefully you have a great rest, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.